created a project called String Resources Demo. It contains a text box, and in the text box I set the multi-line property to true so it can contain multiple lines of text. I named that text box TXT History. What I want to present in this text box is the text of several historical documents or speeches. So I have the Declaration of Independence button. When I click that, I want to display the Declaration of Independence. Gettysburg Address, of course, would display Lincoln's Gettysburg Address. And I Have a Dream would present the famous speech from Dr. Martin Luther King. So I'm going to start with the Gettysburg Address here. And just to show you how you could do this, I Googled the Gettysburg Address and found this Abraham Lincoln online website. And here is the speech. So I copied that, went to Notepad and pasted it in, just did a little formatting, and you can see there's some long paragraphs here. The text box will wrap the text, so I'm going to leave those as long paragraphs, just text. I gave it the title Gettysburg Address. I'm simply going to copy that out of Notepad, so Control C to copy, and then I'm going to go back to Visual Studio. So I'm going to open up the code for my button for the Gettysburg Address. And what I want is to display in the text property the text from that Gettysburg Address. I'm going to put a couple quotes and just paste in, and there's the text. Now, I'm getting 478 errors here, having done that, because it hasn't treated this as a literal string. And so each one of these words, Visual Studio is saying, I have no idea what that statement is or what that word or term is. Now, one thing I can do to get around that is I can add an @ symbol here. And the @ symbol says to consider all this as literal text, including these carriage returns and so forth. I need to put my semicolon at the end there. And notice I now have 0 errors. And I'm going to test this. So in my project, I'm going to click Gettysburg Address, and there is the Gettysburg Address. That's great. But the code is kind of messy. And so there's a better way to do this, and that is using string resources. I'm going to get rid of all that information there. For now, I'm just going to comment this out. We're going to use that again a little bit later. But here's how we can use some string resources. So in my solution, I'm going to right-click on my project, choose Add, and you're seeing this cut off because outside of the area that I'm recording, but there's an item under Add to choose New Item. And that brings up the Add New Item dialog box. I'm going to scroll through this list, and I'm going to find Resources file. And I'm going to add a new Resources file. It's going to have a .rsx extension. The default is Resource 1. I'm going to call this History Docs. And I can have multiple resource files in my project. So History Docs, I'm going to click Add. And you'll see that's added here in my Solution Explorer. And now I get a tab for historydocs.rsx, and I can add in some strings here. So my first string, the name, rather than string 1, I'm going to call it Gettysburg. And then for the value, I'm going to paste in that text that I'd copied from Notepad. Now I'm not seeing it all presented here, but if I click on the next line, you will now see it. And I'm going to bring this over a little bit more so you can see that better. Okay, so there's my Gettysburg Address. I'm going to go back to my form1.cs code. And we're going to take txthistory.txt and say that it equals historydocs.Gettysburg. put my semicolon. That looks much cleaner, but does it work? Well, let's try it. I click the Gettysburg Address button, and there's my Gettysburg Address. I'm going to do the same thing for the Declaration of Independence and the I Have a Dream speech. So in Notepad, I'm going to open up Declaration of Independence. And again, I've already gone through and cleaned this up a little bit. I'm just going to do a Control-A to select everything. Control-C to copy it. Go back to Visual Studio. Come back into my history docs. And now we're going to add, we'll say declaration will be the name of my string, and I will paste in the string. Click on this third one down here. And so now we have our Declaration of Independence, and it is a very long one. And this next one I'm just going to call Dream. Once again, I'm going to go back to Notepad. Open up my text for I Have a Dream. Control-A to select everything. Control-C to copy. Go back to Visual Studio and paste that in. And there's the text of I Have a Dream. Now I'm going to close that History Docs resource file. No longer need that. I want to save it. We'll come back over to here. I'm going to double click on Declaration of Independence. txt history.text equals history docs dot declaration. I Have a Dream. txt history dot text equals history docs dot dream. Need to have my semicolon. I forgot that up here. Gets rid of the error. And let's just test this. Declaration of Independence. I can scroll through all the information there. Gettysburg Address. And I Have a Dream. That's how we can use string resources to present large amounts of text.